Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland Reviewer, and it's my weekend review. And I have a couple of films to talk about, but this week's definitely going to be focusing on television because there's two huge series finales of two of my favorite shows that I got to watch this week, The Good Place and Bojack Horseman. So, starting with the films, on AMC On Demand I got to watch Serrano, My Love, and I remember seeing the trailers for this foreign language film telling the story of how the play centered around Serrano, the man with the big nose who is trying to woo the woman Roxanne, and it seemed like it was jaunting and funny and just a charming little film, and that's exactly what it was, and I had a lot of fun with it. I had some laughs, there's some emotional moments, it got a little heavier at times, but overall it's a fun film centered around the stage and getting to see the behind the scenes, the creative process, and also dealing with crazy actors and their behaviors. And overall, this is definitely a film that I would recommend. It's a lot of fun, it's an enjoyable film, so I would check out Serrano, My Love if you get a chance. Now, I have two films that came out honestly right around the same time from 2019 that I got to watch on Netflix DVD this week, Breakthrough and Palms. And both films, when I saw the trailers, I had this idea of what this film was going to be. And for the most part, both of them were exactly what I expected. And I enjoyed them just as much as I probably expected. I remember seeing the Breakthrough trailer and thinking, this looks cheesy and melodramatic and obnoxious. And what surprised me about this film was how unlikable almost every main character in this film was, and how everybody acted like terrible people. This kid who wound up falling through the ice is a little jerk. His mom's really controlling and pushy and obnoxious. The husband, played by Josh Lucas, I'm like, Josh Lucas always plays a jerk. Or somebody who's condescending. And he was that. And it was hard for me to find a connection because everybody, Topher Grace had an attitude, Dennis Haysbert had an attitude. Basically, Michael Coulter was only main character where I didn't feel like I inherently disliked them from just being somebody who needs to be right all the time. And it's just like, I don't know what kind of message it is. It's like, this family of a bunch of people that are being jerks to everybody, and then it's like, they're like this young boy, which it's tragic. He falls through the ice, and it's just like he was chosen to be saved because of prayers, despite the fact that like nobody's likable in this movie. And I'm just like, I don't know. It just was really not a fun experience watching this film for me, and like you want to feel connected to these people and care for them. And basically, the baseline was this kid almost died, I feel bad for him. But the thing is, like, I didn't like this kid. He was a little jerk. And I don't like his mom. Don't like his dad. Don't like the pastor that's trying to support them. And I don't like the doctor trying to save him. I'm just like, who am I supposed to be rooting for here? And it's just basically rooting for him for the sake of rooting for him because of the situation he was in. So, not exactly the most engaging of films. And then I watched Palms with a bunch of female actors who are at that point in their life where it's like they are able to be in a retirement home. And it's like Diane Keaton and Jackie Weaver, Rhea Perlman, Pam Grier. And honestly, this was a lot of fun. And it's exactly what it seems like. There's not a whole lot of twists and turns in this film. It's pretty cliched. It's exactly how it's going to play out. But I really enjoyed it. Everybody had a lot of charm. It was a fun little film, and I appreciate it. So I would recommend Palms out there if you just want a fun, light little kind of film. Now, watched a lot of TV this week. Another episode of The Outsider. I was more engaged at the beginning than I thought I was going to be based off of the reviews that The Outsider was getting. I'm starting to get into the point where I'm like, am I feeling really, really connected with the show at this point? It's starting to get really there's a lot of things going on, a lot of characters. It's getting pretty convoluted, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to see how I keep feeling week to week while I'm watching this show. I started watching Diary of a Future President on Disney Plus because like I have Disney Plus, I want to utilize it, and it's a cute little show. Honestly, it's about this young girl dealing with the fact that it's like she has ambitions. She's growing up, dealing with things like her father passed away. Her mom's dealing with being a single mother now. Her older brother is a teenage guy. Her mom starts dating this guy, and it's dealing with a lot of really relatable family issues. And it's a fun group of characters, so it's like I'm pretty engaged with it, and I think it's a nice little show to watch with your family. I watched all the Short Circuit shorts, and I think all the Pixar shorts on Disney Plus, Short Circuit, and I feel like Exchange Student is probably my favorite one, and I really appreciate how it's this young girl, and every other student's a blob, and they're all talking like blah 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 blah, and really capturing that feeling of that isolation when you're in a new place and you don't get everybody and you're feeling alienated, and being able to portray that in a more literal sense through animation, and it's a fun little thing. And all these shorts were a lot of fun and had a lot of different kinds of things. Some of them were much more grounded, some of them were a lot more fantastical, but they're a couple minutes apiece, and it's really worth taking a look. The new episode of The New Pope really diving into having John Malkovich in it and him becoming the new pope, and he's a strange character, and this show is getting stranger and stranger as it goes on, and I'm interested to see because I'm intrigued by his character because he's so weird and out there. He obviously has family issues, he has some anger issues, which I was waiting how long is it going to take for John Malkovich to explode on somebody, and he does. And I'm intrigued to see where things go, and it's like, what's going to happen with Jude Law's character, and it's like, let's see what's going to happen next. Watch the second episode of Avenue 5. It's a lot of fun. This is a really funny show, and Armando Iannucci is a talented writer. It's really sharp dialogue. Like, Hugh Laurie definitely is the standout for me in this show, and dealing with now having mixed reports of things and having more tragedies and the passengers on this ship getting even more riotous, and it's a lot of fun, honestly. I watched the first episode of the new season of Miracle Workers Dark Ages, and this is a fun little show. I remember watching the first season and thinking like, oh, I have some laughs and I'm enjoying this. It's pretty laid back, and it's like, I feel the same way about this one. It's not like the funniest show I've ever watched, not the best comedy I've ever watched, but the actors really give it their all, and they have some fun situations, especially like dealing with all the middle-aged stuff and the humor that they can have with that. So it's a fun little show. I watch Endlings on Hulu, and this felt like that really, those live action shows on Nickelodeon that I watched growing up because I was also filmed in Canada, and like an Alex Mack and stuff like that. The production design's on the same level. This effects, they have some interesting creatures in the show, and the show tries to hit some pretty heavy emotional beats, and like some of them work, some of them don't, but I appreciate the ambition that the show has taking on those. The thing that I appreciate most and like about this show is them dealing with all the different kinds of creatures, which is a lot of fun because it's like these group of kids at a foster home and dealing with like this alien who collects the last of species, shows up on Earth because there's only one elephant left. This takes place 20 years in the future. And then this ship crash lands on this farm. There's an evil government agency trying to find them. The police are involved. It's cliched, and definitely some of the child acting is stilted and forced, but it's a fun little show. It's definitely not something that's the best show. It's a lot better in idea and concept than portrayal based off of probably the budget, honestly, but I enjoyed it. Now here's the heavy hitters. So the second half of the last season of Bojack released on Friday. And I felt like the show ended exactly how it needs to end, which is in a challenging, ambitious kind of way. And there's parts where it's like you're getting settled into this fact that it's like Bojack has grown, or seemingly has grown. And this whole last season is about his past coming back for him. And there's great episodes throughout where they use ambitious storytelling and visuals, which really makes Bojack a special show. There's an episode, Diane dealing with writer's block, that's really interesting and dealing with her anxiety. And then you have Bojack. The second to last episode is one of the most ambitious, visually and conceptually, episodes, and it really captures the whole entire sense of this last season of his past coming back to get him. And this is more in a literal way, and it's such an interesting way, and it keeps the mystery high on his fate. And you could probably say by the end of this, it's like there's this ending is not so clear emotionally. It's clear where this show is ending and where it's setting up to, but it's challenging in the sense it's like, how do I feel about where everybody winds up, specifically Bojack? And there were times where I was really rooting for him, and I felt like he was being unfairly judged, and then he would do a thing, do a Bojack thing, and then it really was hard for me to root for him. And that's so the great thing about this show, because it'll challenge you. And this was a challenging last bit of episodes, the last 8 episodes of the series, and it was every bit as challenging and satisfying and emotional as the rest of this show, and I feel like it was a really great finale to this show. And I'm really going to miss Bojack a lot. And watching this, the 8 episodes on Friday night, getting really hit hard by this, but then I watched the series finale of The Good Place. And this one's a much more straightforward kind of ending in terms of where all the characters are at, and this, how easy it is. Easy might not be the right word, but more straightforward where you are left to emotionally process everything. This was just a hopeful, poignant, beautiful ending that really hits emotionally and really takes our characters to a finality. And I cried. I got really emotional watching the end of The Good Place and seeing our characters become fully satisfied in what they were trying to accomplish with their lives. And not everybody winds up having the same kind of ending, which I appreciated. Some of them have a little bit of a surprise where they wind up. And those surprises make sense, though, and they're meaningful, and they hit hard. And I was laughing, I was crying, I was smiling, and the show was so beautiful and hopeful, and I can't believe how much I loved this show after I started watching it, because it seems like a crazy high-concept comedy, but Michael's sure to make something special. Ha ha. And he did make something special with The Good Place. I'm going to miss these 2 shows so much, and I absolutely love them. I so recommend both of them. You can watch, obviously, all Bojack on Netflix, but you could also watch most of The Good Place on Netflix as of right now. Go check out these shows if you've never watched them. The Good Place hit the ground running right from the start, and always surprises you, always turns the story on its head, and really is impressive and ambitious from a storytelling perspective, and from a writing perspective, and a story perspective. Bojack takes a little bit, but once it kicks into gear, this is something else, something special. And we're seeing a sad time with both of these shows ending within 24 hours of each other. But those are my thoughts of this week's shows and the films that I got to watch on streaming and Netflix DVD. Comment below. Definitely want to talk about Bojack and The Good Place, so leave a comment and let's talk some movies and TV. And thank you as always for supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.